वेंकटाद्रि समं स्थानं ब्रह्मांडे नास्ति किंचन वेंकटेश समो देवः न भूतो न भविष्यति विना वेंकटेशं ननाथो ननाथः सदा वेंकटेशं स्मरामि स्मरामि हरे वेंकटेश प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रियं वेंकटेश प्रयच्छ प्रयच्छ सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्. I welcome you all to this program, the 2-day program, today and tomorrow. First of all, let me thank Srinivasa Perumal Temple of Singapore for having organized this program. It would be in English today and tomorrow in Tamil. We have an interesting topic today. Self-management principles as taught in Bhagavad-Gita. This is not a management principle course. It is more of a discussion on the basis of the shlokas on the preachings of Bhagavad-Gita. I have been blessed to be a regular visitor to Srinivasa Perumal Temple, of course for rendering discourses and having darshan. I had been there in 2017 and again in 2019, but after that, due to known reasons, could not go there. But the temple authorities were kind enough to arrange this program. All the satsangs, the Nama group, all the bhaktas of Singapore have been very instrumental in arranging this. You would have heard a lot about Bhagavad-Gita and the meanings of the shlokas of Gita. Gita has a lot in store for us. It is indeed our fortune that we are able to discuss about that during this Kartikeya festival, the festival of lights. Why festival and why Kartikeya festival? Let me dwell upon this for a few minutes and then continue with today's topic. Our festivals are a symbol of some complicated and a little tough spiritual thoughts, principles. There are many theologies, ideologies, great doctrines in spirituality. But we can't restrict them only to the learned lot. They are not only for erudite scholars, but for common people to practice them and attain the lotus feet of Bhagavan. So our forefathers, the rishis, our acharyas, have all created a great framework in which these festivals are a vital limb. Each and every festival, it represents, symbolically represents, a great concept in spirituality. Not only that, they make us revisit, get every now and then reminded about our culture and the greatness of our religion. These festivals bring us together. They make us realize that we belong, all of us belong to a great community that talk about the Vedas, which are based out of Itihasas and Puranas. So this is the platform, an occasion where we are all brought together and reminded of our culture. There is also another important benefit out of these festivals. We are a family. We have a society. We belong to some institution. We work somewhere. There has to be a good connection between all this. Temple on the one side, we the family on the other, The society, the third one. Where we earn and lead a living, the workplace is the fourth one. All these have to be connected. They have to be related. These festivals relate them a lot. Family, as a family we visit the temple. Many families together, even at workplaces, they celebrate their ethnicity, they celebrate their culture, their old traditions and customs. So there too we get together. And of course for the society, these festivals are very important. That is where we get to know each other. If I am in trouble, you help me. If someone is in trouble, I help them. When do we do that? Dana, dharma are very important for a flourishing society. Now and then we hear news about malnutrition, about children going without food, children getting abused. All these must not be there in this world. Let us use these festivals, one as a religious symbol, two for upliftment in our spiritual status, and three to eradicate anything that is bad in this world, in this society. So this was the intention of our forefathers. Annam bahukuruvita. This is what Taittiriya Upanishad tells us. Grow as much as paddy as possible. Grow as much as wheat as possible. Cook large amount of food. Spread it to everyone. Distribute it to all the poor. Let there be no one who is poor. So the very basis of these festivals is dana, dharma, getting together, helping the needy, and many more like that. So it's not that it is only religious. Yes, it is more of religious. But it has much more to do with our society, with family. And lastly, our children. We give wealth to our children. We give education to them. But money and education are important. So is our culture very, very important. If you talk to any parent today, their utmost concern is how do we bring up our children in a good environment of spirituality? How do we bring them up with good qualities, with bhakti, with devotion? The one way is to make them participate in these celebrations. If you take your children to the temple on a festival day, instead of wasting our time in some recreation or some entertainment, let us revisit our culture. Come, my child, let us go to the temple. Let's see how our great people have nurtured this sampradaya. If you tell them, and this is the age where they will really grasp all those things. So festivals are not as simple as we think. Although practicing them is full of pleasure, it's simplicity, but the underlying concept is quite complicated and very, very useful. Now, given the usefulness of festivals, why this Kartigai Deepam festival? Every temple it gets celebrated, in every home, right from day 1 of Kartigai month, throughout the 30 days, Yanai Vilakku Ertalam, elephant lamp, Pavai Vilakku, a great girl, she holds a lamp. Why all these lamps are lit? What has this Kartigai festival got to do with the festival of light? There is something. The festival of light starts from Deepavali day, Deepa Avali, which talks about a series of a row of Deepa. And from that day to this Kartigai day, which is Kartigai Paurnami day. Paurnami is the full moon day. Whenever you talk about a lamp, what can be the best lamp to this world? It can be sun god or moon god. Between them, they give us light. But there is a difference between sun and the moon. Sun gives us light, but it is a little hard. it is quite hot and it's not easy. We sweat a lot. Although jnana is always related to sun and the effulgence of sun, at the same time, it is hard earned. I hope you believe that. You will agree with that. But moonlight is not hard hitting at all. It is quite a cold light. It's cool light. It is white light. So Paurnami has been chosen. Full moon day has been chosen as the festival of lights. Paurnami, Kartigai Paurnami is Kritika, Kartigai Deepam day. What has this day got to do? Jnana is the best thing one has to be blessed with. Shri Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita says, you have to dispel the darkness of ignorance. How do we do that? Jnana Deepena Bhaswata. When Lord Krishna says this, Jnana Deepam. Deepam is not only the diya, the lamp which we light. That is symbolic of a great spiritual lamp. The spiritual lamp is nothing but jnana. Vayyan tahaliya, vargadale neyyaha, veyyagadiron velakkaha, shayya shudaradiyan adikke shoottinen solmalai, yedaraadi neengugave ingu. Swami Alvar, the first of all the Alvars, Poigai Alvar. He was the first one to light a lamp. And that lamp was Vayyan tahaliya. The whole earth was a mud lamp. Vargadale neyyaha. Add fuel to it, add ghee to light that lamp, and that ghee is the 7 oceans. Vargadale neyyaha. Veyya kadiron vilakkaha. You need a little thiri, you need a twig to light it, and that is none other than Sun God himself. Sheyya shudaradiyan adikke shoottinen solmalai, yedaraadi neengugave. Let the darkness be dispelled. Let us all get rid of ignorance. To get rid of ignorance, what do you need? You need knowledge, jnana. And the jnana is the effulgence, is the brilliance of a lamp. When I say a lamp, there are 2 important qualities of a lamp. One, it illuminates itself. You don't need the help of another lamp to see a lamp. So it is self-illuminating. Secondly, it illuminates to the self. That doesn't happen with a lamp. What the lamp does is, it illuminates itself. It also throws light on all the objects around the lamp. You can see anything around the lamp with the help of the light of the lamp. 2, you can see the lamp itself with its own light. But will the lamp be effulgent to itself? Will a lamp tell to itself that I am a lamp? Certainly not. It is not sentient. It has no knowledge. So the lamp is good in the aspect that, like sun or moon, it gives out light. A lamp helps us in 2 ways. One, it lights itself. We don't need the help of another lamp to see a lamp. Secondly, it throws light on all the objects, on all the things around itself. So these are the 2 ways a lamp helps us. Now, if you draw a parallel with Jivatma as a lamp and Atma Jnana as the light of the lamp, you don't need the help of another Jivatma to know a Jivatma. I am self-illuminating like a lamp. And as a Jiva, I can see all the objects around me. But there is an added advantage to a Jivatma. In terms of Jnana, Atma can be illuminating to the self. I know that I am an Atman. Whereas a lamp does not know that it is a lamp. I would know that it is a lamp, but a lamp would not know. But without the help of a lamp, I cannot read this book. I cannot look at the camera. I cannot look at you. I won't know anything. A lamp is very much needed. So certainly knowledge is needed. But the light of the lamp can only help the Atman. So, Atma has to realize, it has to realize the self as well as Paramatma. It should know the Paramatma so that it strongly surrenders to Paramatma. It should also know the badness, the spoiling nature of this samsara where we should not go near at all. Tyaga and Svikara are two things that we have to do, two actions. Tyaga, to abandon what all we should. Svikara is to strongly hold to what all we should. This Tyaga and Svikara, to abandon and to take. So, these two are as a result of jnana. This jnana is nothing but the lamp which we are celebrating today. So, it is knowledge, the brilliance, the realization to a Jivatma that is being celebrated as Kartihai Pandihai, the festival of lights. Vedanta, when it identifies, when it gives the qualifications of Brahman, it says Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman, Shoshnute Sarvan Kaman Sah Brahmana Vipashchita. Satyam, that which is permanent. Now, these are the identifying marks of Brahman. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Satyam would mean truth. Truth, in other words, is permanency. Jnanam is knowledge, is effulgence, the brilliance of Brahman. Anantam, the limitless, boundless nature of Brahman. Swami Tirumangi-Alvar, and coincidentally, we are all celebrating Swami Tirumangi-Alvar's Tirunakshatram. The day he incarnated is Kartihayil Kartihanal, the month of Kartika, the star of Kritika Nakshatram, and that's a great day today. Kartihayil Kartihanal. He sung 6 glorious Divya Prabandhams. In one of them, which is Periya Tirumozhi, he benedicts a great Divyadesham, which is Manimada Kovil. There he hails that Perumal as Nanda Vilakke Alarthakariyai. Nanda is Satyam, Vilakke Jnanam, Alarthakariyai is the boundless Ananta Brahma. Now, how does Alvar call Bhagavan? Nanda, Vilakke, Alarthakariyai. These three are the parallel words used by Tirumangi-Alvar as in the Upanishad. Upanishads in Sanskrit says Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Alvar in Tamil says Nanda, Vilakke, Alarthakariyai. So, which are the words that equate to each other? Satyam is Nanda, very permanent, that which never diminishes. Vilakke is Jnanam. So, Alvar equates Jnanam to Vilakku. Alvar equates Jnanam to lamp and its light. So, is it very clear? Why are we celebrating this Kartihai festival today? This is Kritika, Paurnami, the Tithi is Paurnami, and the great Nakshatram, Kartihai Tirumangi-Alvar Tirunakshatram. All these, they all denote one thing, the spiritual concept of Atma realizing the self and realizing the Paramatma, that is Jnana. Atma Jnana is the brilliance, that's the light, and that light is today's festival. So, Kartihai Pandihai is significant, is symbolic of a great realization, Jnanan Moksha. We are all liberated from the samsara, we are delivered to Sri Vaikuntha through Jnana. Jnana Deepena Bhaswata, Jnana is the only means to liberation. So, having said so, let us start our discussion about self-management principles as told in Bhagavad-Gita. Let us take only 4-5 important shlokas of Bhagavad-Gita and try to relate to our daily life how we can manage ourselves, manage a temple or an institution or a school or finally the workplace, wherever you are working, how do we manage ourselves? Secondly, how do we manage the institution? Has Krishna anything to teach us? He has taught us a lot. He is the only one who has been named as an Acharya. We don't call Ramacharya, Varahacharya, not at all. You may find many people around us, great noble souls who have called us Varahacharya, Narasimhacharya, Ramacharya. But the great name given to Bhagavan is Sri Krishna's Geetacharya. He is the only Acharya, the only incarnation where he preached something. All other incarnations did many things, but Krishna preached a great Mahabharata's essence, Bhagavad-Gita. 700 shlokas, housed in about 18 adhyayas. They have a lot to teach us. In fact, you can say this is the only universal teaching book available. Why did Krishna teach? Is there not a complaint on Bhagavad-Gita that it has instigated violence? Arjuna did not want to fight. Krishna has kindled Arjuna to fight. He has compelled Arjuna to fight. What should Krishna as God, what should have we done? He should have stopped this war. Whereas Yudhishthira did not want this war at all. At the first instance, he did not. But after he reached the battlefield, he never set his eyes away from the battle. He went ahead. But Arjuna, although he wanted this war to take revenge on Duryodhana, Dushasana and Karna, after reaching the battlefield, somehow he was feeling very nervous. He did not want to go ahead with his war. He stopped there. He pleaded to Krishna, Prichhamitvam dharma sammudha chetaha yachreyasyam nishchitam bruhitam ne shishyastekam shadhimam tvam prapannam. Oh Krishna, I am totally confused. Can you clear my confusion? I don't have anyone nearer to me than yourself. Now, if we think that we are in a state of confusion, as was Arjuna, then we are all eligible to receive the preachings of Sri Krishna. Some sort of other, we are also confused. You may be good in your job, you might have a good family, good children, a good status in the society, but still there may be many things that haunt us, many things mentally which gives us a confusion. Now to all these confusions, Krishna gives a simple solution. Although on the face of it, Bhagavad-Gita might look complicated, but when you start practicing it or even reading it and then practicing it, it is quite simple. So let us go through certain shlokas. As we all agree, in this dharmic world, we have to still say dharmic world because it is only 5122 years since Kali Yuga is born. Kali Yuga is totally about 4,32,000 years. We have a long way to go. Only during the end of Kali Yuga, adharma will show its ugly head. We are only 5,100 odd years old now. So we have to still agree, dharma is very much in its place. But to people who want to lead a dharmic life, they slowly find it more and more difficult to lead that dharmic life. That is where we get confused. We find that this path is also quite dharmic. The other path is also dharmic. I want to conduct myself good, but if the other person who drives a vehicle is not careful enough, there is no point in me driving a good vehicle. If I am a good driver, good. But the other person has to be a good driver. He must be willing to follow the traffic rules. If that doesn't happen, there is no point in me following. So I am caught in a web. This is called dharma sankata. This is also dharma. The other path is also a dharma. Both look like dharma to me. What do I choose? Swami Alavandar, the Acharya of Swami Ramanuja, he was well known as Yamunacharya. He has written about 32 stanzas, 32 slokams, the precise, concise meaning of Bhagavad-Gita. The work is called as Geethartha Sangraham. There he says, Asthana, Sneha Karunya, Dharma Dharma Dhiyakulam, Partham Prapannam Uddishya, Shastravasaranam Kritam. Asthana Sneha Karunya. When you run a company, when you run a school, you run a temple, at times you will have to take hard decisions. Yes, we have to be full of compassion, no doubt. But at times when things have to be put at the right place, you will have to take hard decisions. Let me not use the word hard, but firm decisions. Now, being firm is not wrong at all. In fact, Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. There are 4 methods available to solve anything. Sama, just by discussion. Sama, Dana, by giving away something, by settling, by giving away. Bheda, by creating a division. Danda, by punishing. All these are accepted norms, but we must first go with Sama only. If that doesn't work out, then Dana. It's more difficult with Bheda. It is really dangerous with a punishment, with Danda. So, you must be adept enough, you must be equipped enough to use all the 4. If you are not, then better stick to Sama. Probably Yudhishthira could do all 4. Krishna certainly could do all 4. So, he has now assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, one side was Kauravas and the other side was Pandavas. Arjuna was quite confused. He did not know whether to kill or to abstain from the war. Both looked similar to him. This was also dharma, the other was also dharma. If I kill my relatives, certainly it is adharma. At the same time, if I abandon my kingdom, I don't revenge for all the atrocities done against Draupadi, that is also adharma. So, I fight this war for Draupadi and regain my kingdom, it is dharma. I abstain from this war so that I don't kill my relatives, that also looks like dharma. So, when I am caught between 2 dharmas, how do I go ahead? So, this was the confusion of Arjuna. Alavanda says, Asthana Sneha, Asthana Karunya. Karunya is compassion. You must have compassion where you should. Where they deserve compassion, you can show. But if you show compassion where they don't deserve, you are too kind to someone when they are not ready to accept that kindness, then it will go a waste. In fact, it will become counterproductive. So, Krishna clears the doubt of Arjuna. Similarly, we are also in such a situation in our family. Do I go by my wife's word, do my father's word, by my mother's word, or my children's word? Who I would listen to? All seem to be right. Now, I am also right, she is also right, he is also right. How do I go about it? All of us are for the family. We are all towards working for the betterment of the family. Then how do I take and leave anyone's words? This is confusion. Again, go to your office. How do I manage? Your business, how do I manage? And more so, it adds to the confusion if I want to lead a dharmic life. If I have no problem whether it is adharma, I go by adharma, I would like to do business. If possible, I would like to do it in the dharmic way. If you are such a person, you won't have much challenge at all. Instead, you want to practice dharma, whether it is my family or my business or my work, I would like to be a dharmic person, then certainly there will be a little challenge. And that was the same challenge as Arjuna faced. So, we are in the same boat. We can easily take the preachings of Krishna and go ahead. Let's take the first one. Is innovation important or hard work and discipline important? I got a question recently. Krishna answers this question. Suppose you run a business. Is innovative business important? Yes, it is. We are in 2021. Innovation makes a big difference. It is disruptive technology that takes you ahead. Whether it is $1 million or $1 billion company, it's all about disruptive technology. Is it true? On the one side, it is true. Many people have flourished because of that. Similarly, in a family, when I manage myself, is innovation and intelligence more important to run a family, or is it discipline and hard work that is more important to run a family? Is hard work and discipline more important to run a business, or is it innovation that is more important to run a business? Certainly, innovation is important. No doubt, we don't denounce that at all. But at the same time, Krishna has to tell us something. Shraddhamayoyam purushaha yo yat shraddhaha sa eva saha. In the 17th chapter, 3rd shloka, Krishna identifies a Jivatma. identifies a human being. How can you name this being? How can you identify this person? I would say by his name, by his color, by his height, by his dress, by his family, by his status. Krishna says no. All these might change, but right from birth, this person has developed some habits. He has developed a Shraddha. Shraddha is his faith, is his discipline. Shraddhai. Shraddhayoda pannapaduvathu Shraddham. Every year I conduct my father's ceremony. The day he departed this material world, I conduct that day. It is a Shraddha. It's a Abdika, Varshabdika Shraddha. Why do we call it a Shraddha? In fact, the interesting point is, any karma that you do with Shraddha can be named as Shraddha. Even if it is a wedding, it can be a Shraddha. Swami, are you joking? Can a wedding be called as a Shraddha? Why not? But we don't do it. It's not in common practice to do it, but still etymologically you can call it so. Because I do it with Shraddha, it is Shraddha. I do Seemantam with Shraddha, it is Shraddha. I play cricket with Shraddha, it is also a Shraddha. So anything can be termed as Shraddham, provided you do it with Shraddha. The Shraddha is the faith that you have, the resolute intelligence, the resolution, the commitment that you have to do that, and the discipline with which you do that. Krishna says a person is identified by this hard work, by his faith, by his discipline. He can be a sattvic person, he can be a rajasic person, he can be a tamasic person. We can identify him, but the identification is Shraddha and not the intelligence. Although the prime quality of a Jivatma is Jnana, Krishna never identifies a Jivatma with Jnana. He identifies and names it with Shraddha. Shraddhamayoyam Purushaha yo yat Shraddha sa eva saha. How do we practice that Shraddha? Again, that poses a difficult question, a more challenging question. The first one was whether it is innovation or Shraddha or discipline. Krishna says it is discipline. Now, is Krishna against innovation? No. Is he against smartness? Not at all. But unfortunately, you can be intelligent. Very few of our human beings will be intelligent. Not all. In fact, the omniscient Brahman Shri Krishna himself is fully intelligent. He is totally intelligent. All of us follow his intelligence. Arjuna, although was very, very brilliant, but he got confused. That confusion was cleared by Krishna himself. So there would be very less number of people where you find intelligence. But Shraddha can be found with many. Discipline can be found with many. That which can be found in many will form the crux of this society. Not which is available with a few, but that which is available with a few is very, very important. That intelligence is important to start with. But that intelligence alone cannot complete any mission. You need the discipline and hard work to complete it. Suppose I innovate something. There are many things that have been innovated. Today, after the pandemic broke out, it is all virtual. I could not travel there, you could not come here, but still we are meeting, we are discussing about a very age-old 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 year old Itihasa Purana with the latest technology possible. So innovation has made all these things possible, but that alone is not enough. That innovation has to be executed. Even if you are very, very super intelligent and you find some gadget, that's good. But after that, that has to be made available to the public. You have to scale up. You have to produce more. How do you do it? Not only by intelligence. There you need Shraddha, you need straightforwardness, honesty, a good costing, an affordable price. There are so many other things needed. So Krishna rightfully says, if you want to manage yourself, have a little of intelligence as much as possible and have much more of dedication, commitment and the faith, the discipline that you have generated through generations. So this is the first message of Krishna. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. He says abhyasa, repeated practice is the word. But today if I say repeated practice, Do we write imposition nowadays? I don't think. It's all quite historical today. Nobody, no school will give that punishment. Earlier, if you make a mistake, then it is all imposition. Why? We all write Sri Rama Jayam 108 times every day. Is it not mundane? Does it not sound mundane to you? Are we not too knowledgeable? Are we not ahead of writing 108 times of Sri Rama Jayam? Not at all. That repetition is abhyasa. When you take a mantra, Gayatri Japa, you do 108 times, 1000 times, Laksha Gayatri Japa. The same mantra gets repeated. It is Nitya Anusthana, Nitya Aradhana and Nitya Anusandhana. Nitya Anusandhanam, Tirupallandu, Tirupalli Ezhuchi, Tiruppavai, all these have to be chanted daily. The same Tiruppavai 30 Pasharams is getting chanted all through the 365 days. It is the same 12 Pasharams of Tiruppallandu all through the year. Why repeat? I know it by heart. There is no point in repeating. There is a point in repeating. Because Krishna wants to drive home that you, by repeatedly practicing something, you make yourself available to the grace of Krishna. What does he like? Not my intelligence. He likes my discipline. Whether I listen to his words, whether I do it as a routine every day. Don't get bored by routines. If you get bored, then we will not perform the Nitya Tiruvaradhana. Even the Nitya Aradhana to Bhagavan would become a big question. Come to a temple, it is the same practice all through the year. It is morning Vishwarupam, then about 9 a.m. it is Kala Sandhi, then about 12 noon it is the Uchi Kalam, then again at 4 it is Utthapan, then evening it is Aradhana time, night it is Shayana Harati. It is the same all through the year. Is God not beyond all these repetitions? He is beyond these repetitions, but still it happens in a temple, because it is that repeated practice which makes me more and more perfect. So don't ever conclude that intelligence alone and thinking out of the box, only different thinking, you are dynamic, all these words will be very, very good, but they are not going to lead you anywhere. If you want to complete a mission successfully, then that discipline, the repeated practice of daily aradhana, daily anusandhana, there are many things like that in management too. In your school, you will have to do your homework daily. You go to your college, you will have to read your lessons daily. Go to your work, you have to complete your job daily. You be the head, the boss of a big institution, you will have to do it daily. So is it intelligence or discipline? You can easily conclude we need to be intelligent, but to execute it, you have to be more disciplined. Olukkam Veluppam Thadalan, Olukkam Uyirinum Vombapadum. In Tamil, Tirukkural says, Olukkam, the discipline Shraddha, Uyirinum Vombapadum. It is more valuable than your life itself. Krishna also adds, Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam, Karmajyayo Hyakarmanaha. 3rd chapter, 8th shloka. Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam. Your daily routine, O Arjuna, do it daily. Don't get bored at all. Niyatam Kuru Karma, Karmajyayo Hyakarmanaha. Akarma is jnana. Karma is the deed, is what we do, is action. Is jnana more important than action, or action more important than jnana? Which is more important? In fact, I would say jnana is more important than action. But Krishna does not say so. Niyatam kuru karmatvam, karma jyayo hyakarmanaha. Jyayaha means it's better, it's supreme. So he says karma yoga is supreme to jnana yoga. Will you agree with that? We all believe that jnana yoga is superior to karma yoga, whereas Krishna says that karma yoga is better to you than jnana yoga. This is one shloka. Again in the 2nd chapter, 49th shloka, he totally contradicts. I am reading 2 shlokas which apparently would look very, very contradicting. He says, Durenahi avaram karma, buddhi yogat dhananjaya, buddhau sharanam anvicha, kripanaha phalahetavaha. Durenahi avaram karma, buddhi yogat dhananjaya. O Arjuna, buddhi yoga is jnana. Karma is action. Durenahi avaram. actions are very, very inferior. They are distantly inferior to jnana. Second chapter, he hails jnana, and in third chapter, he hails action. What does he mean? Why does he contradict? He is not contradicting at all. Both are important. But if you say that intelligence is more important than discipline, then you won't complete a mission at all. If you say only discipline is more important than intelligence, then you won't find anything at all. You won't innovate at all. So you will have to innovate. At that time, yes, ideas are more important. Intelligence is more important. But if you stop there, you cannot execute at all. Then it is karma yoga that is more important. So with these apparently looking contradictions, Krishna gives us a simple solution. Both are important, but give that much importance to innovation, that much importance to ideas that they can begin. Initially, they are very, very important. But after that, if you want to continue with them daily, they would not suffice. You have to be disciplined, you have to be hardworking, you have to be committed. This is one important point. Now, as a corollary, let us continue with another shloka. Indriyani paranyahuhu, indriyebhya param manaha, manasastu parabuddhihi, yo buddhehe, paratastu saha. Third chapter, 42nd shloka. 3:42. Third chapter, Monad Adhyayam, 42nd shloka. Now here, it's a staircase. Indriyani paranyahuhu. With my eyes, I see something, a good dance program or a good sports program. With my ears, I listen to good music. And with my hands, I touch something. With my nose, I smell something. With my tongue, I really taste akkar, adishil or shakara pongal. So all these are objects of enjoyment. Shabda, Sparisha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These 5 are objects of enjoyment. And our indriyas, the sensual organs, are indeed superior to them. My eyes, my nose, my tongue, my ears, my hand, my skin, all these are more important than the objects. I can enjoy a dance program only if I have eyes and I am able to see. I can enjoy music only if I am able to hear. So my indriyas, my sensual organs are more important. Indriyani paranyahuhu. Then, indriyams cannot operate on their own. They are all driven and commanded by mind, by my manas. Indriyebhya param manaha. Manas is superior to all the 5 organs. Kannu, Kadu, Mooku, ears, eyes, nose, throat, and all those are controlled by manas, which is the mind. And there is something that controls the mind even. Indriyani paranyahuhu, indriyebhya param manaha, manasastu para buddhihi. Now, intellect, my intellect, my buddhi is superior to manas even. So, mind is controlled by buddhi. Manasastu para buddhihi. And finally, buddhehe, para buddhihi, yo buddhehe, paratastu saha. Atma is the controller of buddhi, of the dharma bhuta jnana. So, how do we arrange them? The array is, first, the most superior is Atma. Of course, it's Paramatma, more superior to him. Atma. Atma controls the buddhi, which is the intellect. Intellect has to control the manas, which is your mind. Manas controls the indriyas, which is your eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. And lastly, indriyas are the ones which help us to grasp the objects of pleasure. Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Right. Now in this, would you say that the buddhi is more important or the manas is more important? Are you driven by your mind or are you driven by your jnana? Do we give more importance to jnana or to mind? Mind is a repository. Mind is you can say a storage device. Many things that have happened in the past in your life, they get stored. They are all well written. It is like a CPU or a CD or a USB pen drive where you store a lot of data. Now, in a pen drive, you can store data of this Janma, of this birth, whereas in our minds, lot of janmas, many past karma and past janma happenings are all recorded, and they in Sanskrit, in Vedantic terms, it is known as vasana. The impressions in our mind is vasana. Our mind is driven, in fact our mind is influenced by the impressions that have been created over many births, not years of this birth, but many janma, ananta koti janmas impressions are the vasanas that are created in the mind. The vasanas drive us. I like mango, I like koya, I like banana, I don't like this, I like this, I like him, I don't like him. All these likes and dislikes are being influenced by vasana. So vasana always makes you do something, makes you like to do something or dislike to do something. This is the job of vasana. This vasana is influenced by another. It's called ruchi. Ruchi is the desire, the compelling desire. Vasana will not be compelling you. It is only a liking. It is only an inclination to do something. Then I will have to debate. While I debate, it is the buddhi that takes the decision. Mind never decides. Mind can only think, but buddhi has to decide. Intellect would decide, and finally it is the Atma who takes the decision. The tool in the hands of Atma is buddhi, is intellect. With that tool, he influences the mind, collects data from the mind, processes it with buddhi, and that buddhi is very logical in its thinking, and with that logic, it gives a solution. Let us go by this. Now, beyond that, I have something called ruchi. That ruchi is compelling nature to do something good or to do something bad. With that ruchi, I can do something that is totally wrong and earn papa, or using that ruchi, I can do something totally good and earn punya. Both are possible. So, one which can influence to an extent is the impressions, that is the vasana in our manas. Two, even that vasana is compelled, is driven by buddhi. Now, do you say that logic is more important or passion is more important? If I can simplify the question to you, when you are in a management position, is logic more important or passion more important? Of course, passion. Without passion, can anyone start a company? Without passion, can I do any art or culture in a family? Without passion, will I take care of my parents? Without passion, will I nurture my children? Swami, logistics is not going to help there. Logic will not help there. It is only passion that drives you. Yes, you are right. But passion alone is not life. To an extent, passion is enough. But after that, logic is also very important. Out of passion or logic, never say, you would have seen in many media, including the social media, you will say, this versus this. If I ask you now, should it be innovation or discipline? Innovation versus discipline. That is not the title at all. There is no fight between the two. There is no quarrel between the two. Similarly, is it logic more important? Is it buddhi or is it manas? If it would be either manas or buddhi, God would have blessed us with either of them. But God has blessed us with buddhi and with manas. Why two? Because both of them have an important role to play. There is a role to play for manas as a repository, as a storage medium, as one that can throw up all options available. Again, buddhi, using the data, it has to process and take a good decision. Which is important? Now Krishna says, Indriyani mano buddhihi, Indriyani paranyahu, Indriyebhya param manaha, Manasastu para buddhihi, Yo buddhehe paratastu saha. I will tell you a simple sequence how this spirituality operates. Suppose I like something which I should not eat. It has been banned by Shastra. There is some ahara niyama. If I want to be a sattvic person, I should intake only sattvika ahara. If I take rajas ahara, I become a rajasic person. If I take tamas ahara, I become a tamasic person. For example, the prasada of a temple, prasada of Bhagavan is sattvic. The prasada from a satsang is sattvic. The prasada after aradhana is sattvic. If I take that, then I become a sattvic person. Now with this, let me go ahead. It is vasana that gives me a choice, that gives me an option to do something. I like this, so let me do this. That may be right or wrong, but still I have an inclination to do that. With my logical mind, with my buddhi, I will have to stop that mind. Oh mind, you are going the wrong way, don't go that way. Instead, I think this is the better way, so come this way. I will have to correct my mind. First thing is mind and passion. But that mind passion may go wrong. So the buddhi has to correct it. That this is not passion alone, this is the right way to do it, let me do it. Now if the buddhi is not able to influence the manas, what would happen? Then passion is taking over. It is not wrong. But Krishna in Geetha says, allow that passion to influence you. But can you re-channelize the passion? If you are not able to win over your passion, then better channelize it, deflect it. You would have seen the game of cricket. There is a very, very fast ball coming towards a great batsman. If you have to take on right across the ball, if you have to hit the ball and take it to a sixer, right across the ground, it is very difficult. It requires a lot of power. Instead, a great shot, a good timing, a good touch from the right angle of the bat can easily deflect the ball and use the speed of that ball to reach it to the boundary, to reach it to the fence. Is that possible or not? And that is the skill of a good batsman. Not that I am a powerful batsman, so I use all my power behind my bat and take the ball to a six. That is not right. It may fetch you runs, but still you won't be called as a classical batsman. You won't have a touch of class. The touch of class is how are you able to time the ball, to angle your bat, to touch the ball at the right angle, and with minimum effort, how do you deflect the ball so that it reaches the boundary. Similarly, passion is very powerful. That is needed to every one of us. We can't take it head on. It's not possible. Instead, can you deflect the passion? Where to deflect? The same passion can be in Bhagavad Vishayam. If I go something in this material pleasure and it is wrong, let's not take it on, no head on. We will only collide and fail. Instead, if I deflect that passion to anything to do with Krishna, with Rama, with Srinivasa Perumal, with service, with spirituality, then the passion becomes very helpful and the passion is channelized in the right direction. Once you do that, then I had some unhealthy habits. Because of passion, I was doing all those unhealthy habits. They were not good for my health. Now, how do you abandon them? I still have that passion. I only deflected the passion to Bhagavan. Once I start thinking about Him, meditating about Him, I generate a love and affection towards God, then naturally my buddhi will tell me, why don't I read the Shastram? Since I love God so much, Shastram is His words, why not I read through them? When I read using my buddhi, they would say, don't go by these unhealthy habits, stop them. So the sequence is, my passion goes to something wrong. I will have to stop it. My buddhi is unable to convince my mind and stop it. Instead, I channelize. I deflect my passion to Bhagavad Vishayam. Then it takes over. I am so loving and affectionate towards Him. So Bhagavan makes me read the Shastra. Now buddhi comes into force. I read the Shastra. Buddhi tells me, oh Manas, are you now convinced? Are you now accepting that buddhi is important? Once my passion, my mind is absorbed in God, then it is now willing to listen and accept what the buddhi says. Alvar in one portion says, Marpal manam shurippa, mangayardol kaivittu, Nurpal manam vaikka noividham, Narpala vedattan, Vengadattan. He says, Marpal manam shurippa. Is it love towards God that comes first, or is it abandoning bad practices that should come first? I am doing something that is wasteful in my life, something wrong, something the Shastras will not accept. Now, should I stop all those and then go to God, or let me go to God first? Let all the bad habits remain with me. Let me first start devoted, let me start bhakti towards God. Then slowly, steadily, I can abandon all these bad things. But if you keep waiting to drop all the bad and then go to God, it may never happen at all. So, passion is good. That passion has to be channelized towards God. Then it will start listening to buddhi. Buddhi can convince the mind that this is the right way, passion is good, but passion in wrong things is not good, so please come my way. This is the way to operate. Now, applying the same thing in self-management and managing whatever you do you give importance to passion, or you give importance to your intellect, your deciding power? Without passion, you cannot run any business. Without passion, you can't run a temple, you can't run a public charitable trust, you can't run anything. So, passion is important. But if you run only with passion, then you may not succeed. You definitely need that intelligence, you need that logic, you need your buddhi. So, use a proper blend, a proper mix of mind and buddhi. That is when you become a good manager. Manager, I am not talking about a company manager alone. Any person who manages the family is a manager. Who manages a temple is a manager. When you run a temple, one, you need to be very, very passionate in running it. Only then every day aradhana will happen rightly, as per agama, after all set practices, as per traditions. To run that, you definitely need that passion. But with passion alone you cannot. You will have to run it effectively. People have to donate. You will have to run with many archakas, many other people who come as devotees. You have to make suvidha for them, their safety, everything is important. For all that you need to plan, your buddhi has to be there. So, use a proper blend, a good mix of buddhi, which is intellect, and mind, which is your manas. This is an important point touched by Krishna. Our Alvars and Acharyas had two things with them. Jnanam anuttanamivai nannahave udayanana kuruvai adaindakkal maanilathir thenar kamala kodunan Tirumamahal Kodunan Thane Vaihundan Tarum. Swami Manavala Mamanigal in his Upadesha Rattina Malai, he hails our Acharyas as one having Jnana and Anushtana. All our Acharyas are blessed with one, Jnana, immense knowledge and great wisdom. Anushtana, very good practices. Jnanam and Anushtanam both are important. If you have only Jnana and no Anushtanam, you don't put to practice at all, no one will believe you, nobody will follow you. And you have lot of Anushtanam, but no Jnanam, probably you may go wrong yourself. You may not be right in your Anushtana, so you need Jnanam in the first instance, and that followed by good Anushtana. Jnana and Anushtana together puts the disciple, the Shishya, in the right path. How an Acharya achieves it? More and more Jnana he will preach. When Acharya preaches with Acharya Bhakti, I realize my Jnana is developed. So, when Acharya has Jnana, he does his Upadesham, his teaching, and with that teaching, my Jnana is better. Similarly, that Jnana alone is not important. I must have passion to do something. Passion cannot be kindled by teaching. An Acharya's teaching cannot really develop your passion. He has to inspire your passion. His practice can influence your passion. That is why Acharyas practice. Jnana is for your knowledge. Acharya's Jnana culminates into preaching. That preaching develops my knowledge. Secondly, Acharya's Anushtana inspires me, and I get passion, I start my practice. So, Jnana and Anushtana, one side is passion, which is Anushtana, which is Kriya, and the other side is intellect, is the preaching and knowledge. So these two together is what Krishna did in this glorious shloka. Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhya param manaha manasastu parabuddhihi yo buddhehe paratastu saha. Let us go back to the first chapter. A very simple shloka, but a very powerful message. Duryodhana was quite scared. Although his army was very large, it had 11 akshauhini in number, whereas the Pandava Sainya had only 7 akshauhini. So it was smaller in size. Duryodhana's Kaurava army was much bigger in size, but still Duryodhana was scared of the Pandava's army. Is it evident in any shloka? It is. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam paryaptam titametesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. This is a shloka said by Duryodhana. Duryodhana addresses Dronacharya. Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum. Hey Panduputranam Acharya, Dronacharya, Pasya, have a look. Acharya Mahatim Chamum. See the big, large, boundless army of the Pandavas. In fact, Duryodhana's army is much bigger in size than Pandavas. Then why should Duryodhana address and tell Dronacharya, Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum? Swami Vedanta Deshika wrote a glorious commentary to Ramanuja Bhashyam. Ramanuja Bhashyam is the commentary for Geetha. An elaborative explanation to Ramanuja Bhashyam is called Geethartha Sangraham, Geethartha Sangraham of Alavandar. This is Tatparya Chandrika of Swami Vedanta Deshika. He says, Aparyaptam tadasmakam. Paryaptam is limited to a size. Aparyaptam is unlimited, beyond a size. Aparyaptam tadasmakam. Our Sena, our army is aparyaptam. It is too big. Balam bhishmabhirakshitam. This is being guarded by Bhishmacharya. Bhishmacharya was the Senapati of Kaurava army. So that goes right. This is guarded by Bhishmacharya and our army is quite big, aparyaptam. Whereas the armies of Pandava, army of Pandavas, paryaptam, it is limited. Paryaptam ditam etesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. Their army is guarded by Bhima. Now this is where Swami Vedanta Deshika enquired. Was it right to use Bhishma and Bhima equal to each other? Not at all. It was a wrong usage chosen by Duryodhana. Bhishmacharya was the Senapati, whereas Bhima was not the Senapati of Pandava army. It was Drishtadyumna who was the Senapati. Or if you had counted Bhishmacharya as a great archer, a Maharatha, then the other side Maharatha would have been Arjuna, not Bhima at all. Or if you had taken that he is the Kuru's head, the foremost father, the eldermost person, the eldest person, then the other side should have been Dharmaputra. So Duryodhana did not take Drishtadyumna, he did not take Dharmaputra, he did not take Arjuna. Instead, he has only counted Bhima. Bhima is no match to Bhishmacharya. Then why did he count Bhima? So Vedanta Deshika says that proves the point that Duryodhana is scared. He was scared of the army. The army was limited in size. So size does not matter. You want to run a very effective institution, the size does not matter. But your commitment to succeed, your commitment to that service, that matters more. Krishna says that he proves the point here. Paryaptam titam etesham bhalam bhima virakshitam. You know why Bhima was taken as against Bhishmacharya? Bhishmacharya took a vow. He said, I will kill anyone, but I will certainly spare the 5. I won't touch the Pandavas 5. This was a promise which he had given even before the war. I will not touch those 5, but I will kill any 1,000 other than those 5. This was the resolution taken by Bhishmacharya. Whereas Bhima has also resolved. He said, I will spare anyone, but not the 100. I will certainly not spare the 100, Duryodhana and his brothers, Kauravas. but I can spare anyone. I can leave anybody with life, but not the 100. Now take both of them. Here is Bhishma who says, I will not touch the opponent 5. Here is Bhima who says, I will not spare the opponent 100. Then, will I not be scared, O Dronacharya? Of course, Duryodhana would be scared, because I am being guarded by someone who has resolved not to kill the enemy. Whereas, my enemy standing, which is Bhima, he has taken a resolution that he will not spare me or all my 99 brothers. Where am I going to succeed? I am not going to be victorious at all. So, it is very clear, the size is not the matter here, but the commitment to win, the commitment to succeed, and that really happened. Pandavas were committed to win. That happened. Were they committed to win? Swami, are you in your senses when you talk this? Because Arjuna was the one who wanted to run away. He did, but not after. To clear the confusion of Arjuna, Krishna preached all the 700 shlokas. Sthitosmi, Gata Sandehaha, Karishye Vachanantava. This is another important piece of advice from Krishna. You can have any number of questions. You can doubt. You can really put down any of your points in a meeting. You are in a meeting. It's a big institution. You run the institution. There are other trust board members. You can have many differences in opinion. Anybody can have. But across the table, they have to be discussed. You can voice your concern. All concerns would be addressed. But don't go or you agree something on the table, go back and behind the screen, if you act against that, then your institution will not be successful at all. Have only people who will talk in front of your face, discuss all points threadbare, whether they want to deny, they want to reject your proposal, reject it on table, but once it is agreed, then don't go back and do something behind the screen. That did not happen here. Arjuna did not want to fight. He said so. He dropped his great Gandiva, his bow, and he said openly to Krishna that I am not going to fight. Krishna then started, O Arjuna, kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anarja jushtam aswargyam akirtikaram Arjuna naitatvai upapadyate. This is not fitting your stature, Arjuna. You cannot be dejected. Don't be dejected. Take up. Lift your bow. Now you will fight this war. Arjuna had many doubts. He had objections. He raised all objections. All the objections were answered. They were addressed by Krishna. Once they were done, Arjuna was fully clear. Sthitosmi gata sandehaha. My doubts are all cleared. Karishye vachanantava. I will do what you say now. Once Arjuna took the decision, there was no looking back at all. That's very important when you manage. If you agree, then don't look back. In fact, you will be surprised to note, Yudhishthira did not want to fight this war. Yudhishthira did not want to fight. But when he came, after he reached the battlefield, once he decided to fight, he went ahead. He never looked back. Whereas Arjuna, he wanted to fight and take revenge for all the atrocities against Draupadi. But when he reached the battlefield, somehow he forgot. He didn't want to fight. He said, Krishna, I am scared. I am running away from this battlefield. What not? Then he had to be convinced. That's the reason why Yudhishthira, Yudhi Sthira. And Yudhishthira was steadfast, was quite firm in the battlefield. That is why he was known as, he was Sthira in Yuddha Bhumi. He was called as Yudhishthira. So, Krishna says, Aparyaptam tad asmakam balam bhishma virakshitam. This shows that Duryodhana was scared because they had no commitment. There was no objective for their victory. Their objective was a simple one. I don't like them, so I will have to win. I don't like them, I won't share any property with them. This will not work in any good work at all. If you take a good objective, then you will have a commitment to do that. If your objective itself is wrong, it is not a long-standing objective, it has no meaning at all, then you won't have commitment. Even if you have, it could have been a very spoilt commitment. Instead, Krishna says, once you committed, stand by that commitment. That's very important. Patram, pushpam, phalam toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati, tadaham bhaktyupakritam, ashnami prayatatmanaha. In the chapter 7, 8 and 9, Krishna talks about Bhakti Yoga. There, whatever he taught to Arjuna in the early chapters, the first and second chapter, he confirms it in the 7th and 8th, 9th chapters. I just now told you that size doesn't matter, value doesn't matter, it is the commitment that matters most. Yes, Krishna says that. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati. O Arjuna, to practice the path of devotion, bhakti, a simple leaf, offer leaf to me. Pushpam, simple flowers to me. Phalam, a few bananas to me. Toyam, a pot of water to me. Will you not get all these things? Are they very expensive? Not at all. Let them be simple. Let them be very little less in size. But still, yo me bhaktya prayachati. One who offers them with utmost faith and bhakti, I really accept it. I never value them by the money, but I value them by the commitment and the true nature of devotion that is demonstrated when someone offers them to me. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati. That bhakti, the unconditional bhakti, expecting nothing in reciprocation from Krishna, is true bhakti. So Krishna accepts it even when it comes to his own. He did not preach to Arjuna alone that you don't worry about your size, be committed. He did not stop there. Krishna never bothered about size, never bothered about the money spent. He was bothered about the commitment that was behind that offering. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. This is another point. Now let us get into a more important point. We are nearing completion. Let me talk about that. In the 20th shloka of 3rd chapter, Krishna hails Janaka. He is so appreciative of Janaka Maharaja. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhi masthita janakadayaha lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. A very important shloka. If you want to be a leader and set an example, you do what others can do. Don't do something which others cannot do, or others by following you, they would fail. Never do such things. Karmanaivahi samsiddhi masthita janakadayaha. Janaka was the one who reached liberation by practicing Karma Yoga. Jadavarada reached Vaikuntha by practicing Jnana Yoga. Prahlada reached the lotus feet of Narasimha Perumal by practicing Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna gives the first example of Janaka. In fact, as Rama, he would have liked to appreciate his father-in-law, but Rama would never talk about anyone. He was very shy. So he left it to Krishna. Krishna was never shy of anything. So he was bold enough, he was open enough to appreciate Janaka. He says, Karmanaivahi samsiddhi masthita janakadayaha lokasangrahamevapi. Here is a term used by Krishna, lokasangraha. What does it mean? Set an example so that others can follow you. If you are the example, then how much should you practice and inspire? Is it that I know to drive a bicycle? I know cycling very well. I have been doing it from the age of 7. Now I am 57, 58, so I can drive well. I started teaching to a small child. I started teaching to another 7-year-old boy. Now, should I show all my ability, my skills in bicycle to that boy? He will fall down. He will break his knee. I should not do that. Instead, I should tone down to the level. I should reduce my specification to the level so that he is able to follow me. If I don't do that, what will happen? There are two disadvantages. One, the child is not going to learn bicycling. Two, the child might have a big fall. Both things might happen. So Krishna says, Arjuna, you are now talking about running away from this battlefield and practicing Jnana Yoga. You are a leader, you are the king, you have many followers. Many people see you as an example. So, seeing you, if they also start following Jnana Yoga, what would happen? The ability to perform Karma Yoga, the qualification, the pre-requirements to Karma Yoga are very, very simple. Whereas the requirements for Jnana Yoga are tougher. They are really difficult. Arjuna, even you, being Arjuna, one of the Pancha Pandavas, it is difficult even for you to practice Jnana Yoga. Leave alone others. Even for you, it is difficult to practice Jnana Yoga. Then, see the plight of all others who are going to follow you. They will definitely not succeed. If they practice Karma Yoga, which they are used to, they will definitely succeed. But if they practice Jnana Yoga, they are not used to it. They are not equipped. They are not qualified to do it. So they will all fail. Now you will have two problems. One, even when you practice Jnana Yoga, you cannot succeed. Two, you will have to carry the burden of many millions of people as you have misled them and have been the reason for their failure. So you invite two troubles, Arjuna. Better follow Karma Yoga. Loka sangrahamevapi sampashyannu kartumarhasi. Loka sangraha is being a leader and setting an example for common people. This is very important. Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Chaitanya, Vallabhacharya, all were great scholars, great acharyas. But have they written something which we can never understand in our lifetime? They won't do that. They were very, very simple in their approach because they all know we are going to read their books, we are going to be inspired by their practice. So, they will have to practice what we can follow. They can't practice something which is very, very far to us, which is very, very tough for us to practice. They will never do that at all. That was the compassion of all our acharyas. Don't think that because we are able to understand Ramanujacharya, we can easily understand Swami Vedanta Deshika, we can understand Manavala Mamunigal. It means that they had only that much qualification. Their intelligence level was also as understandable by us. It was limited that I can understand their knowledge. Not at all. It was unlimited, it is boundless. But still, they made it limited. For example, you have Darshan of Srinivasa Perumal. He might be 8 feet tall, 10 feet tall, or Anantapadmanabha Swami 16 feet, or Tiruvatara Adikeshava Perumal even 22 feet. Does it mean that Bhagavan is so restricted? Is he bound? Is he limited by 8 feet, 6 feet, 22 feet, 2 feet? There are people, Bhagavan who is only 1 foot tall. Does it mean that he is so short? It is not at all. But the same Trivikrama was a dwarf Vamana. But when he started measuring this world, he was so big. In fact, he is so big. But he limits us so that we are able to access him. Similarly, if you are a leader and you will have to set an example for common public to follow you, then you will have to limit yourself. Don't think that we are committing something wrong. I am below my dignity, that I am limiting myself. I have to be simple. I have to make you understand. That is more important. Then you get inspired, then the sky is the limit. So, Krishna was very clear. If you are managing yourself good, if you are a good leader, then Loka Sangraham is very, very important. That is, be an example for common public to follow you. Loka Sangraham evapi sampashyannu kartumarhasi. So, you lay down the systems, the training has to be for someone who is very, very dull in a group of 1,000 people. You have to choose the dullest person and train him so that he is able to perform. Then, training is good, I will train the dullest person, but when you establish targets, you will have to give targets. Targets has to be to an average person, not the dullest person, not the most intelligent person. Instead, it has to address the average person. So set your target to the average person so that all the duller ones are made to improve. All the more intelligent ones are able to achieve it easily. So set the targets accordingly. Lastly, when you treat someone, treat them with utmost care. Whatever treatment you will give to the most intelligent person, that has to be the benchmark for everyone. So when you treat someone, it is to the best of your employees. When you set targets, it is to the average of your employees. When you set the system and train them, it is to the dullest of your employees. If you are able to do that, then certainly we will slowly improve the whole system. We will slowly improve the bar itself. My revered father, he was a great Upanyasaka. He used to tell me, there may be about 500 people in the audience. They are all listening to us. You must think you must have two benchmarks. One, find out who the dullest listener is. Two, find out who may be the most intelligent listener. Somehow, I don't know how you will find it out, but you'll have to find out. When you explain any difficult concept, explain it so that even the dullest person is found happy. His face must be lit with happiness. He must think, yes, I have also understood this difficult concept. Yes, it might be boring for others even, because they are more intelligent, they would have caught the point even earlier. But still, we will have to explain till the last person is able to understand. This is when you explain. At the same time, don't think that all are dull. There will be super intelligent people. So you cannot commit any mistakes. When it comes to the question of mistakes, you will have to benchmark the most intelligent person. When it comes to the question of elaborating, explaining, you have to catch the dullest person and explain even he is enlightened. So these are certain practices that we have to follow. One important question which is always debated. Krishna says, Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tasmat yuddhaya yuddhasva naivam papam avapsasi. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Oh Arjuna, can you treat sukha and dukkha equally, pain and pleasure equally? Labha labho, profit and loss equally, jaya jayo, victory and defeat equally. This never happens in life. Whereas Krishna tells Arjuna, can you make this happen? Arjuna was wondering how. Krishna added another shloka. One is 2nd chapter 38th shloka, another is 2nd chapter 47th shloka. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu ma te sangaha astu akarmani. Karmanyevadhikaraste, do your duty, Arjuna. You have a right to do your duty. Do it. Ma phaleshu kadachana, not to the fruits of your actions. Ma phaleshu. Phalam is the fruit, what you enjoy. So don't look at the enjoyment. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu. When Krishna says ma phaleshu, that does not mean we must act without any objective at all. He never says so. The objectives have to be lofty. Don't keep your objective mean, cheap. Don't set your eyes on cheap objectives. Don't work for mean objectives. Instead, work for very lofty objectives, great ones. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. Never count yourself as the cause for that action. You are not the cause. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. Karma phala, they are fruits for actions. You are not the cause. You are not the doer. Don't work for any mean fruits. Instead, look for Atma Sakshatkara and Paramatma Sakshatkara. Now, if I tell you that run this business, you are not the one who conduct this business. Don't do the business for profit. Don't think that you are the reason for the profit, but still you have to do the business. You have to conduct the business, but you are not the doer. Don't work for any profit. Don't work for loss. You are not the cause for the profit or loss. Then you would say, why run the business? If I tell my son that you go write the exam well, don't worry. Don't worry about the marks. Don't think that you are the one writing the exam. Don't think that you are the one who studied, you are the cause for those marks. Nothing but write the exam. my son will immediately tell me that, let me not write the exam. When you say that, I am not the writer, I am not the cause for the marks, my objective is not scoring high marks. When this is the case, then why should I take the exam? Krishna says you have to, because you don't work for short-term objectives, but work for long-term objectives. When Krishna says ma phaleshu, it doesn't mean that it is no objective. It means that not only short-term objectives, but it is more of long-term, medium-term objectives. This is very important in management. You can't work for short-term objectives. Krishna says sukha dukkhe same kritva. Sukham and dukkham same kritva would mean treat them equally. If you treat them equally, what would happen? Then you have to work without an attachment towards your actions. I can treat equally provided I am not bothered. It's not my burden. I am not bothered. I'll tell you another shloka which explains this. Padma patra ivambhasa. Lotus leaf. You find water on a lotus leaf. If you tap the leaf, the water disappears. And you won't find any shade of that water even. There will be no trace of water. You can't find that the water was there on that leaf for half an hour. You won't find at all. Similarly, when you lead a life in this samsara, you must be water on a lotus leaf. Don't leave any trace. Don't leave any footprint. Live, just leave. Live to simply live. Padma patra ivambhasa. Krishna wants to be so detached in this samsara. The earlier shloka even, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Vairagyam, detachment, is very important. Now you may question, when I conduct a college, when I conduct a business, even my family, I have to be attached. To my work, I have to be attached. Unless I have passion towards my work, I know that I have to achieve that. Without the sense of achievement, without thinking that I am the doer, I can't afford to fail, how will you be successful? Then the work itself will be shabby. Is it not? It is not. The work will be very, very good if you are detached. Krishna is not telling you to be detached from all benefits. He is only telling you to be detached from very short-term objectives. He never wants you to abandon Atma Sakshatkara or Paramatma Sakshatkara. He only tells you don't settle for profit. Instead, look for improving your wealth, developing your shareholders' wealth. In any company you talk to them, you will work for profit if you are a small institution. If you want a long-term objective, then it has to be improving your shareholders' wealth. This is what is very important. Even in my family, I can't look for only short-term objectives. That's called santosha, happiness. But that's not satisfaction. Will you settle with happiness? Will you not look for more satisfaction? That is tripti. Santosha is happiness. Satisfaction is tripti. Profit is short-term, whereas wealth is long-term. To have that wealth, you must have a detachment. To make profit, you can be attached. But to improve your wealth, you have to be detached. Moreover, if you should not be affected by whatever you do, then you have to be detached. Do well, even you do a very good job, we have to offer it to the lotus feet of Krishna. Kayena vacha, manasendriyairva, buddhyatmanava, prakrite swabhavat, karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai, narayanayeti samarpayami. Why do we offer everything to him? That would only give you better results. I do take an example. My father suddenly developed a chest pain. I had to rush him to the hospital. I tried calling the doctor. The numbers did not go through. I had to hang up. I tried calling a cab. I could not get anyone. I tried to get a tablet. I could not get. It was midnight. Now I start panicking. This will happen not because I don't want to save my father, I would like to reach him quickly to the hospital. Yes, I do want, but still I am fumbling in all my actions. Why? Because I think he is my father, a panic sets in. That moment, my friend, my neighbor entered home. Oh, my friend, what happened? Is your father sick? Yes, he's sick. He called, he got the cab. He called the doctor, he booked the room. He took him, the first aid was given, all the initial treatments were given, then my father was saved. In 3-4 days he came back home. I called my friend, I thanked him and said, I could not save my father because I was panicking, whereas you were so patient. Nidana marama panne, thank you very much. After a week, I heard some noise from my neighbor's home. His father was sick. He was very panicking. I went. I was quite patient. I was quite patient. I took him to the hospital. I admitted him. He also got cured. He came back. Then my friend came to my home and thanked me. We both were quite surprised. When my father was sick, I could not do things in the right perspective. Whereas when your father was sick, you were not able to do. But across we were able to do very good. Why? Because I never thought that is my father. That little attachment, yes, you must have that. But still, that my father pulls you down. That my father affects your senses. It makes you panic. Instead, here is a great gentleman, a good human being, a great devotee. So I will have to save him. Do my best to save him. With those thoughts, if you start operating, I am sure you will succeed much better. So Krishna says, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Not on phala, ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. That's the reason, nirashihi, nirmamo bhutva, yuddhasva vikadajjaraha. Nirashihi, don't desire. Nirmamo bhutva, don't think that I am the doer. Nirashihi, nirmamo bhutva, yuddhasva. Arjuna said, oh Krishna, thank you very much. So I am not the one who is fighting. I don't bother about whether I win or lose. I am not the cause for the victory or loss. Yes, good. So let me not fight. Arjuna, you can't support inaction. You have to act. Karmanyevadhikaraste. Yes, you have to act. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. Ma te sangaha astu akarmani. Akarma is inaction. Krishna never advocated inaction. He advocates lot of action but with detachment. Similarly, wherever we manage, wherever we lead or follow, you will have to do to achieve that objective, a very lofty objective, but with absolute possible detachment. Let me dwell on a last point. Equality. The Vedas, the Shastras show us the way for equality and all inclusiveness. A temple must include everyone. It has to cater to all. A company must cater to all, because Krishna says, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunnyo Bhavarjuna Yavanartha Udapane Sarvataha Samplutodake. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Vedas teach to all the three modes of qualities, people with all the three modes of qualities, Sattvic people, Rajasic people, Tamasic people. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Vedas do not teach only to Sattvikas. They don't stop with Rajasas. They don't stop with Tamasas. Instead, the Vedas teach for all, for one and all, Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. Why? It's after all Vedas, not your common any studies. It's not your law book or a chartered accountancy book or your medical book. It is Veda. So Veda should restrict to Sattvika? Not at all. It is all inclusive. It is for males, it is for females, it is for human beings, it is for devas, it is for rishis and everyone. Not only everyone, it is even to the wicked, it is even to the most righteous. It wants to correct the wicked and it wants to even better develop the righteous. So a tamasa must become a sattvika, a rajasic person must become a sattvic person. This is the objective of Vedas. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. To a sattvic person, the set of rules would be different. To a tamasic person, the set of rules would be different. Lastly, the rajasic person, the set would be different. But I must identify who I am and accordingly choose the set of rules. If I am quite sattvic in the terms of Vedanta, if I am quite sattvic, I cannot follow something which is told for a rajasic person or a tamasic person. I'll give an example. There is a yaga homa available to get lot of money. It's called Vayavya Yaga. I can become very, very wealthy. There is a prescribed yaga, which is Vayavya Yaga. If I do that, I become very wealthy. Can saints like Ramanujacharya or Vallabhacharya do Vayavya Yaga and become more wealthy? Probably they can use their wealth for even service to God, service to humanity, but still they won't. They will not do. They are sattvic. Their way is bhakti and sharanagati. Their way is not for material wealth, it is for spiritual wealth. But to them, it is spiritual wealth and sharanagati preached by Vedanta. To persons like you and me, it is many other material wealths preached by the same Shastra. Shastra that talks about Vayavya Yaga also talks about Sharanagati and Bhakti. Why? Should it not restrict at least to Moksham? Not all will immediately like to go to Moksham. First, I will have to draw a child, give him a peppermint, give him a chocolate, call him, make him study, then an undergraduation, then a post-graduation, then on I call him, having studied all your English education, can you now study some Vedanta? Here is the great treasure of Vedanta, I present to him. Then slowly he learns from the samsara, from his friends, from his relatives, then all the past mistakes, then he likes to go to get liberated, then he goes to an acharya, takes shelter under him, practices bhakti or prapatti and reaches moksha. This is a process. You can't immediately call a school-going son, oh child, come here. Here is your prapatti or sharanagati marga, acharya, abhimanam. Go to Vaikuntha. He won't come at all. He will not lend your ears to you. So you will have to give him what he wants and slowly attract him towards you. That is very well done by Shastra. But Krishna says, once someone becomes a good saint, he is quite matured in his spiritual knowledge, he cannot get back to that child. He cannot behave as a child and start asking for a chocolate again. Will Veda tell me how to earn wealth? Will Veda tell me how to clear my enemies? Will Veda tell me how to remove my debt? They will, but it is not for you. But just because you are quite matured, don't think that everybody else is matured. So to everyone and anyone in this material world, there is something in spirituality and very, very effective. Similarly, it's a temple or a trust or a company, wherever you must have the practice of equality, give an equal opportunity to everyone and also include everyone. We will have to include everyone in all practices. You may divide the job. Here is a job to you, this is the job to you, this is the service to you, this is the service to you. But everyone must be offered a service. Because we are all part and parcel of God, we are all children of God, we will have to serve Him, we will. But I should do what I should, he should do what he should, and she should do what she should. He and she must have a service, but she must do her service and he must do his service. These are all very well said by Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita. So it is managing myself or managing my business or managing my institution, wherever Gita has a great, great preaching for all of us. That's why we say, Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsaha Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gita Amritam Mahat Gita Sugita Kartavya Kim Annehi Shastra Sangrahaihi. If you have studied Gita, no need for any other text. Having studied many, many other texts, if you have not studied Gita, everything will go a waste. Let's not waste it anymore. We have not done. We have tried to make it useful in these 90-100 minutes possible. We will continue tomorrow. நாளைக்கு தமிழ்ல உபன்யாசம். நாளைக்கும் இதே நேரத்தில் அவசியம் எல்லாரும் இதே யூடியூப் சேனலுக்கு வரணும் அப்படின்னு பிரார்த்திச்சுக்கிறேன். மாறும் உலகத்துக்கு ஏற்ற கலாச்சாரம். உலகம் மாறிக்கொண்டே போகிறது. அப்படி இருக்கிறச்சே எப்படி நம்ம கலாச்சாரத்தை, நம்முடைய தர்மத்தை எப்படி நாம் கடைப்பிடிப்பது? This is the topic for tomorrow. I once again thank the Hindu Endowments Board, Singapore, Srinivasa Perumal Temple, Singapore, for having arranged this program. I request you all to spread the word to your friends, your relatives, so that they can, even this is available in YouTube channel, so you can see the same lecture even tomorrow or 1 year later. Please request them to watch, and tomorrow live they can all join. Shiyakantaya Kalyana Deyartinam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam. We will again meet tomorrow evening. Thank you.